Gardner Minshew is officially the starting quarterback for the Las Vegas Raiders for the foreseeable future. The Raiders are the definition of a Ferrari that may have a busted engine. The quarterback problem is glaring with this organization so far. In the preseason, it's only been 2 weeks. And I have to say this and drive this point home. It's only the preseason. You can't win or lose a Super Bowl in the preseason unless major injuries happen. Aiden O'Connell has not looked good. Gardner Minshew hasn't looked great either, but Gardner Minshew has looked better. This is the guy that's a veteran. I'll get more into Aiden O'Connell in the next couple of minutes. Gardner Minshew is a journeyman quarterback. He started his career off with the Jacksonville Jaguars, had a lot of good moments, a lot of bad moments as well. But as soon as they clinched that first overall pick, you knew that they were going to go with Trevor Lawrence. He went to become the backup with the Philadelphia Eagles. He played a couple of snaps, played a couple of games when Jalen Hurts went down. He looked okay. He goes over to the Indianapolis Colts. He went into that mentorship role with Anthony Richardson. They wanted Anthony Richardson to be the starting quarterback. Anthony Richardson was not able to make it out the entire season. So Gardner Minshew played majority of the season. He had 15 passing touchdowns to 9 interceptions. And they were one play away from making the NFL playoffs. He's not a bad quarterback. Week to week, he's not the best starter to have because, in my opinion, he's a high-end backup only. I don't see him ever just going out there and being a franchise quarterback or being a reliable starter for more than just a year. He's a bridge quarterback, and I'm not trying to disrespect Gardner Minshew at all. That's just how it is. That's the way the NFL views him, and that's the way the Las Vegas Raiders really view him as well. They were hoping that Aiden O'Connell could be that guy. He played 11 games last season with the Raiders. It's not like this guy did not go out there and play his rookie season. He did. And he was dealt a raw deal because his head coach and the main offensive play caller got fired in Josh McDaniels, who should have never got hired in the first place. He pushed Derek Carr out the door because he wanted to bring in Jimmy Garoppolo, which was a terrible move. Now, Derek Carr was a very good quarterback for many years with the Raiders. You can say what you want to say about Derek Carr, but he was Mr. Reliable with the Raiders. Their defense was no good when he was here with his organization. Now you can say he's not the same player with the Saints, but that's a whole different conversation. When you look at this quarterback situation right now, this is all because of Josh McDaniels. And I'm not saying that Derek Carr was ever a top 5 or top 10 quarterback when he was with the Raiders. I'm not saying that, but he's better than Gardner Minshew and he's better than Aiden O'Connell. And Aiden O'Connell is still a young player. I have been very disappointed in him because I expected more from him. He got to build the reps with Davante Adams, Trey Tucker, and Jacoby Myers. But instead, it has not carried over to the preseason. Now, in the regular season, could he turn it on if Gardner Minshew doesn't look good? Sure. But I don't see Gardner Minshew going out there and just losing this job because of 1 or 2 bad games. Gardner Minshew is not going to be the reason why you win football games. He also isn't going to be the main reason why you lose football games either. He's not going to put the football in harm's way over and over again, especially if you're running a 2 tight end set. He hasn't done that in the past. He could do it with the Raiders, but it's highly unlikely. I don't see him going out there throwing 15 plus interceptions this season because the Raiders are going to try to go out there and run the football with Zamir White, get those 2 big tight ends involved with Brock Bowers and Michael Mayer, and get Davante Adams his touches on the outside. That's how it's going to be. He has a great cast around him. That's why I say this Raiders team, that the way that it's currently constructed, they are the definition of a Ferrari with a busted engine. Great to look at, great pieces with Davante Adams, Trey Tucker, Jacoby Myers, Michael Mayer, and Brock Bowers. And Zamir White's a very underrated running back. It's just that quarterback situation. If you just put a slightly above average quarterback in this situation right here, we'll be talking about one of the most dangerous teams in the AFC. And you may argue that Gardner Minshew was a slightly above average quarterback. The problem is in the division, in that AFC South, it's not like this division right here. You have the best quarterback in the NFL in this division. And you guys know how this has gone for many decades in the NFL. Look at the Patriots when they had Tom Brady. They dominated the division. The Chiefs so far, Patrick Mahomes, they dominated this division. Even though the Raiders were the last team to defeat them in the regular season last season. Very impressive win. They won that with their run game, and they won that because of how great their defense played. It was a major pick 6 in that game, and Zamir White ran crazy. Aiden O'Connell did nothing in the second half. But how many times can you count on your defense and your run game to do that on a consistent basis against the Kansas City Chiefs? It's possible because it happened once, but it's not going to happen over and over again. Right now, Gardner Minshew is a better quarterback than Aiden O'Connell. And I wish that Aiden O'Connell would have went out there and continued to build that chemistry. Not saying that he can't be a starter moving forward. He can develop behind him. But right now, they're rocking with Gardner Minshew. Their run game should be very good. Zamir White is a very good power back. He was a backup to Josh Jacobs. Let's get one thing straight here, because I see a lot of people in the national media trying to say that Josh Jacobs was being held back by the Raiders. That's not true. Josh Jacobs had a down year. He wanted to get a contract extension. The Raiders weren't going for it. He got paid by the Packers. Zamir White looked better than him this previous season. And I'm not saying that Zamir White's a better running back than Josh Jacobs, but last season he was more reliable when they needed him the most. I understand the season before Josh Jacobs led the league in rushing, sure. But last season, what have you done for me lately? In those terms, Zamir White was the best running back to have. And he's cheaper. You also have Alexander Madison as well. Very good backup. If he's the starter, you're in trouble. But this is a Raiders team. They shouldn't be going against too many stacked boxes, because Gardner Minshew can go out there. He can create plays outside the pocket. He can throw things across the body. He just can't do it on a consistent basis. And he has never played with this much talent before. The Colts had a very good run game with Jonathan Taylor and Zach Moss and a very good offensive line. I'm talking about receiving threats. Devontae Adams has been one of the most consistent wide receivers in the NFL over the last few years. He is still the best wide receiver in the game, in my opinion. And the reason why he wanted to come over to the Raiders is because he wanted to play with Derek Carr. That only lasts for one season. Devontae Adams is phenomenal. It speaks for itself. Trey Tucker has great elite speed, can take the top off the defense. You can put him inside the slot. You can take him outside the slot. He's going to cause havoc. Jacoby Myers is a very good wide receiver. He's one of those players you look at and say, hey, Josh McDaniels got something right by bringing him over from the Patriots. That was a great move. So the wide receiving core is very good. Tight ends, you have Brock Bowers. You also have Michael Mayer. Now, I'm going to get into this conspiracy for a second. If Michael Penix Jr. was there and with that pick and the Falcons didn't take him, this is a question for you guys. Do you believe they would have took Brock Bowers, or they would have went with Michael Penix Jr.? Because Coach AP has something very interesting to say about this quarterback battle a couple of days ago. He said that he wished that both guys would have performed better, and he wished that their days would have ended better. And he left it at that. I don't believe this organization had that much faith moving forward in Aiden O'Connell and Gardner Minshew. And they were hoping for draft night that Michael Penix Jr. or one of those other quarterbacks would fall down to them. Instead, that did not happen. In my opinion, if Michael Penix Jr. was there, they're going to pass on the tight end. You can't tell me that they're going to take a tight end over a possible franchise quarterback. And by the way, Brock Bowers is going to be great as long as you can get him the football. And the same with Michael Mayer as well. You can run a 2 tight end set to condense the field. Whenever teams have done that in the past, Gardner Minshew has been a significantly better quarterback. So they can do that. You can also impose your will with 2 tight ends as well. They have to buy into blocking. But as long as they can do that, you can run play action, especially in the red zone. So I think they'll be in a very good situation with the talent around them. Can they help elevate Gardner Minshew? And I'm not trying to disrespect Gardner Minshew. Once again, I think that he can be okay at times. I just don't think that he's a great week-to-week starting quarterback, and I don't think that he's a franchise quarterback that's going to get the Raiders over the hump. Now, this is what makes the Raiders very scary. Their offense and their skill position is very good. Their defense is even better. Their defense carried them last season. If I was to say this 5 years ago, you would laugh at me because of how bad their defense has been the last decade plus. And I'm not talking about when they had Khalil Mack and those guys. Their secondary was still getting cooked. Last season, their defense played in unison. From the front seven to the back end, it was great to see. And they don't have a guy on this roster that's making a lot of money at the quarterback position. So they went out there and they finally got Max Crosby some more help and Christian Wilkins coming over from the Miami Dolphins, a great interior defensive lineman. Max Crosby is already one of the best pass rushers in the NFL. Christian Wilkins is going to eat up double teams. Malcolm Kuntz was a very good pass rusher as well. And you also have Tyree Wilson, who I'm hoping can develop into becoming a very good player with the Raiders. Last season, his rookie season, wasn't the best, But you had the Chandler Jones situation. They rushed the kid on the field. I felt bad for him. I'm telling you, that tenure last season was a fever dream with Josh McDaniels and Dave Ziegler as the GM and Chandler Jones going on his rampage with his mental health stuff. And I hope everything's okay with him. The Raiders had so much negative things going on. And yet Coach AP finished 5-4. And the defense looked very good down the stretch and looked very good for the entire season. Linebackers are very good. I like Robert Spillane. I like Divine Diablo. They can tackle in space. They can stop the run. It's going to be hard to run the football on the Raiders regardless because of Christian Wilkins and Max Crosby alone and Malcolm Kuntz. They're not your traditional pass rushers that just forget the run and get straight to the quarterback. They can stop the run. They can pin their ears back, and they can make opposing teams one-dimensional. And their secondary is very good as well. Nate Hobbs was very good last season. Trayvon Mooring was a very good safety as well. Their secondary is slept on, but it's very good in my opinion. And you also look at the offensive line. Colton Miller, very good left tackle. You drafted Jackson Powers Johnson. If you want to play him at center, left guard, or right guard, plug him in. He's a plug and play guy. When he's ready to roll and to becoming a starter, he could play anywhere in that interior of that offensive line. He's going to be great. At the right tackle position, I'm worried. They drafted DJ Glaze. He's not ready to play right now, but the right tackle position has been lacking. But you have a veteran in Gardner Minshew who can see certain things. Hopefully the Raiders will be in a very good situation. This is the best that it's going to get for Gardner Minshew. He gets another starting spot. He's starting to remind me of Ryan Fitzpatrick when he was moving from team to team and he had the chance to become a starter. This is what it's starting to remind me of. Hopefully he can find success. I want to see this division be tougher because the Kansas City Chiefs have been running this division since Patrick Mahomes took that starting spot. You have the Chargers now with a brand new head coach and Coach Harbaugh. We'll see if they can figure things out. There's a lot of excitement about Bo Nixon and Denver Broncos. And just because Gardner Minshew is the starting quarterback doesn't mean that you can't be excited about the Raiders. They have great talent around them, man. And you actually have a head coach that knows what he's doing. Yes, it's his first year being the official head coach, but he went above 500 last season. Went 5-4, dealing with nothing but dysfunction. Rookie quarterback, putting new players in there, trying to figure out a brand new system on the fly, and you bring in the offensive coordinator that he wants. Now, Luke Getsy was not their first choice. They wanted Cliff Kingsbury. They couldn't get down to the money. He walked over to the Washington Commanders. They said, you know what? Let's bring in Luke Getsy. It's not a terrible offensive coordinator. It's not a great one either, but he's not horrible. He's a former offensive coordinator for the Chicago Bears. He will throw a lot of screens. In this system, it may help you out. With Justin Fields, it didn't. And the reason why I believe they can work out in this system, you have so many options. You could do a screen to Trey Tucker. You can do a screen to Michael Mayer. You can do a screen to Brock Bowers. You can do a fake screen and have Devontae Adams going deep down the sideline. You can do things like that. He hasn't coached talent like this before. The Bears never really had elite talent around Justin Fields. DJ Moore is a true number one wide receiver. That was pretty much it. And Cole Kmet, who's a very good tight end in his own right. Besides that, you didn't really have much going on there. You have plenty of weapons to help the quarterback's job easier. I'm not saying that the Raiders will make the playoffs for this upcoming season, but I do believe that they're going to be in a better situation for this upcoming season than they were last season. But let me know in the comment section below. If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. If you like the video, hit the like button. Most importantly, I want each and every last one of you guys stay safe, stay positive. Thanks for watching the video, guys. God bless. Peace.